Good morning, everybody. It's 7 in the morning, little 6:45. We are going to ride camels. All right, we just got off the camels. Gooch and I were on Shameli, right? I think that was her name.
Yeah, Shameli.
Shameli. And Darius, who were you on?
Shambhala.
Shambhala.
He didn't tell me the name, so I gave it one.
There you go. Yesterday I was on Sheila at the sunset, and riding this during the sunrise like this, I mean, look at that. Can't beat it. Really can't beat it. All right, so we had our breakfast, we did the camel ride, all that fun stuff, and now we are leaving the Oasis here to make our way to the next parks of the day, which is going to be Real Madrid World, as well as Motiongate Dubai, our next two parks, which is actually where I'm going to hit my 500th roller coaster milestone, which I'm very excited for. So we'll see you guys on the road. All right, we have made it to the Dubai Parks and Resorts, which has 3 amusement parks. We were going to 2 of them, one of which has that coaster right there. That is Hala Madrid at Real Madrid World. And then, of course, Motiongate Dubai, which is definitely the biggest park of them. You can see that right over there with the free spin. Today, like I said, I'm going to hit my 500th coaster credit milestone, which I'm very excited for. And Darius, you've never been to Real Madrid World, correct?
No, that's a new credit in this place, so I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm tired.
I can tell. He's dragging along, but we're gonna push through. So the way this place is set up is very interesting. There's this big kind of central hub. Think something like Universal City Walk. That's definitely what this reminds me of. That kind of connects all the parks. So you can see Real Madrid World on the left, Motiongate on the right, Legoland straight ahead. So it's kind of a triangular setup here. And there it is, Motiongate Dubai. Quite the entrance. When you turn the corner here and you see this giant film reel and the camera, I really, really do like that. Also really loving this pattern in the concrete here that looks like a film reel as you wind your way up to the entrance. This is a really nice touch. Honestly, walking into this park, I'm kind of getting heavy Disney's Hollywood Studios vibes, which I don't say that lightly. It takes a lot to kind of feel like a Disney park. And obviously I haven't even been inside yet, but this has a really, really nice entrance plaza with the pairing of the music and just this big grand entrance. I'm really liking it so far. Now we did unfortunately hear that John Wick, which is that 4D free spin back there, is closed. So that means there will only be 6 potential credits here instead of 7. I did not mean to do the 6-7 joke, sorry guys. That means that my 500th coaster will not be at this park, it'll be over at Real Madrid World, hopefully, as long as not more is closed here. So that'll be exciting. All right, and we're in. The guy at the front did just tell me that like I said, John Wick is closed. I think a flat ride is closed. That is something I'm noticing they do at these Dubai parks. As soon as you walk in the park, they tell you what is not going to be operating. Like yesterday when we were at IMG Worlds of Adventure, they told us that the Thor ride wasn't operating, and that was the only ride that was not open for the day. So if there's anything American parks can take from these, I definitely like the fact that they're fairly transparent about the ride availability. Okay, so I don't really know anything about the layout of this park. I just know like the general idea of the rides they have. So I'm gonna hang a right and go into Columbia Pictures first. So each area is themed after a different movie studio. Like you got Lionsgate over there. Like I said, Columbia, there's DreamWorks as well. Like I said, this really does feel a lot like what Hollywood Studios in Orlando used to be, which was kind of themed to the movie production side of things. But this park feels like it has gone a little more in on the like themed areas to each ride, which I think is really cool. I like that kind of style of ride, or theme rather. So I'm very excited to see how they do everything here. I've heard great things about the park. And already they're winning compared to IMG because they actually have branded merch here for the park instead of just all the IPs. I really appreciate that. So here's the Green Hornet coaster. Looks like it's definitely not open yet. They still have people doing inspections. I actually haven't really seen anything run yet, quite frankly. So maybe they just kind of get a late start here. I'm not really too sure. But that one I guess we'll have to come back to. This is a Gerstlauer bobsled coaster, if I remember correctly. So it has a car very similar to that of a Wild Mouse. Obviously, it's not exactly like a wild mouse, but it does have a similar kind of feel to it. Looks like they also have a Ghostbusters themed shooting dark ride. I'll come back to that later when I come back to ride Green Hornet, but that's a really, really cool theme for a shooting dark ride. I'm walking up to this like gigantic castle right here. I'm not sure what this is. Oh, it's Hotel Transylvania, the movie series that starred Adam Sandler as Dracula. I don't know what this ride is. This is a very, very elaborate kind of setup here. I like this a lot. And then it looks like in the back corner here, it's just a show. I'm not sure what that's themed to. And then a Zombieland drop tower. I'm gonna skip that for now. I'm gonna keep going through the park. Like I said, my main goal, as of now at least, is to get on the coasters as fast as possible. It's not particularly crowded, as you're noticing. You're probably only seeing employees in all these clips I'm walking through, which seems to be a bit of a pattern at the Dubai parks. But still, gonna try to get through all the coasters as quick as possible, then just kind of take in what the park has. It looks like they have that what might be a Smurf-themed rapids. That's awesome. Might have to check that out later. Actually, it is not Smurfs themed. It's actually Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs themed. You can see them right there. So the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs River Expedition right here. Seems like this over here is kind of like a mini land themed to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. And then next up in the circle here is the Smurfs Village. I think there's a coaster over here. I guess I'll find out once I get a little deeper in. Yes, there is a coaster. It's the Smurf Village Express. I guess the entrance is down here. Looking like this will be the first coaster. So I just rode the Smurf coaster. And something very weird. Well, for one, the operations like at IMG are very slow. I'm assuming this is just a UAE thing. And another weird thing, I have these zippered pocket cargo shorts. I use this everywhere and never really have to take my phone out of my pocket unless it's a ride that requires you to get a locker for everything. But he would not let me ride this with my phone in my pocket. Everything else was okay, but my phone had to come out. I don't know if that's because they want to make sure you're not filming or what, but very weird. This ride is not tame or not like crazy enough to really warrant that, in my opinion. It was a fun ride though. I like the animatronics and the thematic elements, and particularly that helix back there had a lot more punch than I was expecting. And it's very nice, you know, well-themed little kiddie ride. But the zippered pocket thing is weird to me, very weird. So Columbia Pictures connects to Smurfs Village. Smurfs Village, which you back out here at the kind of main hub. And then back here is DreamWorks. I guess I'll kind of just follow it along here. And it's looking like this area might actually be fully indoor. There's this gigantic building, which I'm assuming is what houses all the rides here. And it looks like I was right. This is really, really cool. You got this nice big fountain right here. Wow, okay. And then each character has their own area. First stop is going to be Madagascar, because I know there is a Gerstlauer Infinity coaster in here, which I don't know how that's even possible, but I believe that that is Madagascar Mad Pursuit. I think there's also a How to Train Your Dragon themed coaster. I'm not sure where. All the areas kind of connect. Like that's Kung Fu Panda over there, and then Shrek is next door. So we're gonna figure this out, see exactly what's going on in here. This park, much like IMG, has the same thing with all this queue space that never gets used. So you walk like into a train car here for a portion of the queue, and then you pop back out. I'm assuming this is like a circus kind of setup. Yeah, this is very unique. And there's the station right there. So we just got off of Madagascar Mad Pursuit. Oh look, it's the penguin. And that was really unique. I wasn't expecting it to do what it did, but it did what it did. Very much so a family coaster, which is weird for a Gerstlauer Infinity. It's not super intense, but it kind of felt a lot like Spider-Man over at IMG, just minus the spinning. It was a very, very similar kind of like thematic experience with, you know, a dark room, just with projections that would kind of pop out at you like physical static objects. I liked it though, it was really cool. Here we are in the Kung Fu Panda area. You can actually see Poe himself out there for a photo op. It's a very cool looking area. I'm not sure what they have in terms of rides, but it is definitely very cool looking. Now we're gonna go over here to the other side. I'm assuming How to Train Your Dragon is in between Shrek and Madagascar. It's kind of what it seems like. This area looks fantastic. Oh my God, the theming, so well done. It truly does look like you're in the village. This is great. And then all the way in the back of the area here is where you get to How to Train Your Dragon. I guess it's more of a mini land. And it's very weird to see a How to Train Your Dragon themed area and set of rides after being an Epic Universe since that is the only other place I know of that has, oh yeah, look at this. It's like another mini kind of portal room here with Shrek, Madagascar, and then How to Train Your Dragon. Well, there is the Dragon Gliders coaster. It looks like it is a mock-powered inverted coaster, kind of like what you would see at Europa Park in Arthur. Walking through this area, I'm like getting heavy Isle of Berk vibes from Epic, and obviously this came first. This down here almost feels like Fire Drill, just without the boats. And then you have like, you know, the little flame grill here. This is really cool. I like it. It's not very big, but the scale is big. Like, it has a really, really nice sense of presence here. Here it is. Let's go for a ride on Dragon Gliders. Once again, the queues here are just really well done. They're very big, but seemingly never filled because these parks are never crowded at all. But this is, wow, it's a great queue. I mean, look at the size of these queue rooms. This is crazy. And you can literally see right now, they are loading an empty car. There's nobody here. It's very weird. But that seems to be the case at all these parks. Very well done queue though. This looks great. All right, so we just got off the How to Train Your Dragon coaster, which is a mock-powered inverted coaster. Like I said, the first one I've ever been on, and that was really, really well done. Again, I'm going into this park knowing it's not Disney or Universal level, and when you go in with that expectation, the theming at this park is actually really, really well done, especially on this ride. I love the finale where you come out and you go over all of the Isle of Berk here. At least I'm assuming that's what this area is considered within the mythology of this ride, but that was really good. I think where this model exceeds the most is when you have these kind of moments where you're just swishing back and forth through these really rapid maneuvers and you have these different props kind of, you know, bouncing out at you. That's really, really good. I think the moments where you're just kind of staring at a screen and not moving, they're a little dull. But otherwise, I was really, really impressed. What did you think, Darius?
Loved it. I actually skipped the ride. You know me.
Last time you were here.
I don't have an affinity for the kiddie stuff, but when I got on it, it's actually a really cool ride system. I hope someone does probably some more interesting things with it. I think you made a great point when they mix the media with the movement and the animatronics. Great experience.
Absolutely.
If whoever makes the next one can minimize sitting in front of the screen, it's going to be an awesome ride.
Definitely. And again, this whole area here looks fantastic. This looks like I said, a mini fire drill, just without the boats moving. It's very, very similar to Berk, which makes you wonder if Universal kind of looked at this park's version of their, you know, How to Train Your Dragon and was like, you know, we could learn a few things from this, because that's kind of what it seems like. Just came over here and found Shrek, which is a nice, pleasant surprise. Like I said, this area, all the areas in the DreamWorks area, I think the indoor kind of portion of it really does work to the advantage of all these attractions, because they're able to do some really, really cool stuff. Once again, another ride, Shrek here, with just such a great queue. Look at this. And it's, again, huge queue space, but not even close to full. And it's posting a 10-minute wait. We'll see if that's actually true. But if it's a 10-minute wait and it's only gonna have so many people, I can't even imagine what kind of wait it would be if all of this was filled. And that really just goes back to the fact that the operations here are bafflingly slow. And that's across the board at these Dubai parks. I guess it's just the way they do things. Yeah, they're claiming that this is a 10-minute wait. That's not 10 minutes. All right, so I just got off the Shrek Dark Ride, and that was actually really well done. It was not a unique story or anything. It was just a retelling of the movie's events. But what I liked is that you start the ride with Shrek and Fiona and Donkey and all his kids, and they're looking like, well, this, you know, like how they would normally look in the movie. But then when you get to the actual retelling, they change into puppets. Everyone becomes like a puppeteered kind of figure. So I thought that was a really cool way to kind of separate the different kind of periods of the ride. And there was a lot of really good effects. I thought like the animatronics for the most part were really well done. The one thing I thought was kind of funny that was done interestingly to say the least was the way they did the fire breathing dragon. They just had a screen project like a fire burst. It didn't work very well, but I admire the effort. But, you know, I don't want to knock the ride at all, because I actually thought it was a very, very good dark ride, all things considered. It was also trackless, and 2 cars went out at the same time. So I thought like I was just going to be following because I was in the back car. But then what wound up happening was we swapped multiple times throughout the ride because there was splits, because like I said, it is trackless. So really a very unique ride. I thought it was very good. Don't miss it. So I do think that the DreamWorks area of this park is by far the best area of the park. It's the most cohesive, the most well done, and I think that's because it's indoor. I think if the rest of the park was indoors, it would probably be on the same level of detail, but obviously this is an outdoor park. I'm also noticing as I'm walking through the park, and you may notice this if you come and visit, there is security everywhere. I mean, like, more than I've ever seen in the park, just stationed everywhere. I'm not like complaining or anything, it's just something I noticed. I thought it was very interesting because I haven't really seen that at any other parks before. We're gonna try first is see if Green Hornet, which is the bobsled coaster up front, is open yet, because that ride has abysmal capacity. And if it's not open, then we'll probably go into Motiongate and do the Now You See Me coaster and the Hunger Games coaster, because then we'll pretty much be done with the park in terms of credits. There's still quite a few other rides I would like to get on. We've got plenty of time. These parks don't close for quite a while, so don't think we'll have any issues there. I do hear the Green Hornet running, which means that will be the next stop of the day. So as expected, this is the ride with a line right here. It's got the worst capacity. So I wanted to come here quick because I knew once it opened, it would get a line, and lo and behold, there's the line. All right, so I just rode Green Hornet, which is a Gerstlauer bobsled coaster themed to a franchise I've never heard of. Darius just explained it to me while we were in the queue. It was fun. Basically imagine a Wild Mouse just with slightly more interesting elements. It kind of feels like a Wild Mouse crossed with like a Gerstlauer spinning coaster, which this is very similar to, since it is a Gerstlauer after all. I know there's a lot of these over in Europe, not really any in the US, but cool ride. Had a little bit of a shake to it, which, I mean, it really doesn't matter. It's just a family coaster, but it was still a fun ride nonetheless. All right, next up, a ride I'm really hoping is good because it has the potential to be awesome. This is Ghostbusters. Darius says it's good. So once again, this park just never ceases to amaze with the queues. The queues are really good here. All of them. I mean, they're very well done. This one's awesome. So yesterday over at IMG, we rode the Amazing World of Gumball shooting ride. Didn't like it very much, so the way I see it, if this ride can manage to be better than that, it's a winner in my books. All right, looks like we finally reached the station. It's a very long queue line for this ride. All right, so that was honestly on par with Gumball from yesterday.
I won.
Yeah,
I won.
Yeah. And you got second place, right, Gooch?
I got second place.
Okay, I'll give you guys that.
Hey, you know, and that's only fair because I dressed as a Ghostbuster for Halloween this year.
There you go.
Complete with the proton pack.
So you had like the bonus points going into this.
And everything, man.
Yeah, you were ready to go.
You know what I'm saying? Because who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters with Gooch.
Goochbusters.
Goochbusters.
Right.
See, the problem I have with this one and Gumball is that, for one, the screens are pretty bad and they're not very accurate. This did not have lasers at all. Every shooting piece of this was a screen, which I'm not a big fan of. And the blasters are so stiff. The trigger on them, I mean, I can feel it in my fingers.
It's the first time I beat Colin.
Soak it in, because it's going to be the last. As we're walking through the Columbia Pictures area, and all of the park actually, I'm noticing most of the food locations are closed. You can see the diner back there is closed. This coffee location is closed. And I think that's mainly because, well, you know, the park is dead. There's like nobody here. So they have no reason to staff it all. I think even this up here might be another closed food location. Let's see, I'm curious. Is it closed? Closed. And now the final area of the park is going to be Lionsgate, where we're gonna find 2 open coasters, 3 total. Like I said, the John Wick 40 free spin, not open unfortunately, but I'd rather it be a clone like that that's closed out of literally anything else. So not that big of a deal, but this is a really nice looking area. All right, here is the Mockingjay pin as we make our way over to the Capitol Bullet Train, which is by far probably the most thrilling coaster here. Is a mock swing launch coaster. You can see the spike right here. Pretty excited for this ride. Very curious to see how it rides. Once again, they do a great job with the queues here. Looks like we are in the Capitol. There's one of the guards. And I guess we're going down into whatever this is. Looks like we got some weapons, some of, well, what's her name? Effie Trinket's clothes, maybe. And here's the queue. Not a very long queue. All right, we just got off of Capital Bullet Train, and that was actually a lot better than I was expecting. Look at the ride; it's not very big. The launches aren't super powerful compared to Velociraptor from yesterday at IMG, but the rest of the layout is actually very punchy. There's some good airtime moments, some nice whip. It's a very short ride, but it does pack quite the punch for how small it is. So I actually just timed how long the dispatch was on the Hunger Games coaster, Bullet Train, or whatever it was, Capital Bullet, just to kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. 10-minute dispatch, and that's not really a fluke because I've noticed that's how it's been all day. So pack your patience. That's all I can really say. So here's John Wick, which, like I said, it is closed. Out of all rides to be closed, I don't mind this one being the one. It's interesting because it's kind of set up like Batman the Rides entrance at Fiesta, where it's like inside a building like this. So that is really cool. But now we've just got one more coaster, and that is this one right over here, if I can see it. There it is. Now You See Me High Roller. I have no idea what kind of ride this actually is. Looks like it might be a Gerstlauer. I'm not sure. We'll find out once we get on there. The entrance into this queue is crazy looking. It's like a hotel lobby. And because there's nobody at this park, it actually feels like I'm checking into a hotel. This is wild. I'm telling you, the queues at this park are so good. This is like backstage of a show. You can see all the different, setups for what you would need for a show like that. And we got the electrical room here. We make our way through. And this is all the props for the magic show, because that is what Now You See Me is, but I guess there's also a vault. I don't really know this franchise that well. And then up the stairs we go. Oh, this is pretty cool. Got the money wall. Something I've noticed at both IMG and this park is they seem to have a bit of a vandalizing problem, because every ride queue I've seen has some form of vandalism on it. There's not been a single one that doesn't. As Darius has pointed out, there is tons of room for expansion. They didn't really hide it very well. But, their property, I guess, goes all the way up there and comes around. So they could do a lot more at this park, but quite frankly, I don't really think they're going to, because they don't need to. It's very dead here. And from what I understand, Darius, you've heard the same, right? This park never really gets crowds. So I don't know how they're surviving, honestly. It's a interesting situation these Dubai parks have.
More people come to the mall than to the park on a daily basis.
Which is just mind-blowing.
You guys spin a lot?
Yeah.
You spin a lot?
Careful, Darius. You still got to ride Falcon's Flight. Yeah. All right, so we just rode the Now You See Me High Roller, I think it was called. And that is by far the weirdest Mauer spinner I've ever been on. You start off with this really big drop, go into a non-inverted loop that actually has like a thick spine track, the only one I've ever seen on one of these. And then the rest of the layout, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. And then you get to the end, and there's a lift hill to get back up to the brakes, because I guess they designed it so that you wouldn't have enough speed to get to the brakes. So you have to get a lift hill up. And on that lift hill, Darius and I were riding together. We were off balance. It was the two of us next to each other. And we were just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning nonstop on that lift hill. It was ridiculous. And the queue is cool until you get to the end. At the end, it just kind of like dies in terms of theming. And I'm kind of noticing, the operations, we've noticed this across all the rides, especially this and Hunger Games. Brutally slow. Unlike anything I've ever seen in the United States. I guess it's just, again, we're here in the UAE. Things are different over here. I guess that's just how they operate the parks. But just prepare for very slow operations. We got through the whole park very quickly because there's no crowds. but like this, it was running 2 trains, and there were moments where the train would be ready to go in the unload spot, and they would just kind of stand there and talk to each other and then bring it in. Very strange, but that ride was cool. So we've only been at the park for a couple hours, and we did basically everything. I mean, we did all the coasters plus the Ghostbusters ride. I'm gonna go back over to wherever it is, I guess the back of Columbia Pictures, to check out Hotel Transylvania. I know earlier I said it's a show, but on the website it shows it as a ride, so I'm gonna go see if that's true. I mean, just look how imposing that looks as you walk into the area. I mean, that's like Tower of Terror vibes. That's awesome. All right, it looks like Hotel Transylvania opened ahead of schedule. It's posting a 5-minute wait, so this might be our last ride here. It's really the only one I care to ride at this point. And then we're gonna head over to Real Madrid World, where I'll hopefully ride my 500th coaster. All right, we just got off of what might be one of my new least favorite dark rides I've ever been on. I'm saying least favorite because I'm just so disappointed. I mean, it's an IP like Hotel Transylvania. You have this incredible facade, right? You would think it's gonna be like a really good ride. It's a trackless dark ride. It has so much potential, and it just does nothing with it. For one, it goes way too slow through the course. There's no near misses with other cars or anything like that. You're going through this giant foyer room, which is cool. It's a cool concept, but you're going so slow that everything kind of gets lost. You go through these rooms that have no doors, so you just see everything as you're driving through. I'm let down. I'm very let down. Go if you do happen to come to this park, ride Shrek. Don't even bother with this. We did get this funny picture though. Thank you, Lionel, for buying that. But I'm baffled. All right, that's gonna do it for Motiongate. Really weird park. Like on paper, it's actually very good. The theming is well done across the board, and they have a lot of great rides. The Dragon Gliders wound up being the biggest surprise for me. I thought that was great. They have a lot of great family coasters too, and Capital Bullet Train is a very fun thrill coaster, but it is kind of bogged down by the weird kind of just consistent things we've seen across the UAE parks, or the Dubai park specifically, because we haven't gone anywhere else yet, which is the operations, which are just so bafflingly weird. Nothing about them makes sense at all. Plus, just the general feel of the park is a little weird. You can definitely tell what's newer and what's a park original, because some of the newer stuff feels like they kind of just threw it there and hoped the rest would make sense. Not saying that they're bad rides. Like Now You See Me is a great ride, and a lot of the new stuff, they're great rides. But I really do question how long the park is going to last. And I know Darius and I were speaking about this because there's just no crowds here. That's the thing.
Once again, I think it's a situation where there are more people who work here than people attending.
Yeah, and you can very clearly see that as we were walking through, and you'll probably notice in the clips that you'll see a lot of employees around and just not that many guests. But with that being said, we're gonna head over to the second park of the Dubai Parks and Resorts. We're not doing Legoland. We are going over to Real Madrid World to ride Hala Madrid, which will be my 500th coaster, hopefully. So as we're walking towards Real Madrid World, I'm looking at the Sky Screamer, or the, Star Flyer, and I feel like the top of that looks like it kind of resembles the Six Flags logo, which leads me to think that maybe this came from the canceled Six Flags Dubai project. We know that John Wick over at Motiongate was from the canceled Six Flags Dubai project, so who's to say that this wasn't also from that canceled project? All right, we are now making our way into Real Madrid World, which is where hopefully we will get on Hala Madrid, the GCI wooden coaster, to be my 500th coaster. Before we go in though, we are making sure that everything's actually open, because if that wooden coaster is closed, probably gonna turn around and go to Legoland, because our ticket works either here or at Legoland, and obviously this is the clear choice. Alrighty, the lady up front says that every ride is open that I want to ride, so that means that Hala Madrid will be number 500. So this park is rather interesting for its history. It originally opened as Bollywood Parks, which I find funny because I always have had a personal vendetta against Bollywood, because whenever you would search Collywood before the channel got bigger, it would always autocorrect to Bollywood. But now it is Real Madrid World. It became this very recently, and Bollywood, I believe, originally didn't really have any rides. It was more so just like, what you see here. And then they were starting to add rides and wound up closing and not opening. So Hala Madrid right there kind of sat dormant and with a uncertain future. But then Real came in and, well, opened it. So now we have this, and look at that. Both coasters are right next to each other. You got the Wavi Laol, I don't even know how to say that. And of course, Hala Madrid. a interesting looking queue. 500th roller coaster, Hala Madrid. Thank you guys.
Thanks for
Appreciate
coming.
it. Thank you.
All right, what's going on, man?
500th coaster, Hala Madrid. Just rode it in the back row. I'm glad it was a cool ride like this. You can't go wrong with a GCI. Is it the best GCI? No. But it's a GCI in the desert. When do you get to ride a GCI in the desert? Darius is learning how hard it is to walk backwards,
Pretty damn
as I
cool,
always do.
especially as I approach a stairwell. Congratulations, dude. You deserved it.
Thank you, DJ.
Sorry, Phil. I got to ride the 500 with him.
Now it is time for the second coaster at this park. I gotta figure out how to say this. The Wave Laola, I think. Is that how you say it? Darius, how do you say this name?
Laola.
Laola. The Wave Laola.
Yeah.
The Wave Laola.
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 Yeah, it depends on what context. I think it's Laola in this case.
Okay. So as you guys saw, Hala Madrid. That was actually pretty good. Not like the greatest GCI ever, but it was good. Then we did the kiddie coaster right there. I don't even know. It was actually really good. That's the newest version of the Zamperla kiddie coaster. There's no single position lap bar, so we were cozy. It's fairly roomy, so we fit in fairly comfortably. I didn't have to touch him or anything, thank God. And all the transitions are smoothed out too. So good job, Zamperla, on the new version of this. I don't know how new it is, but it's very
actually
good.
Pretty cool.
Yeah,
For a kiddie coaster.
I don't dread riding that at all. Now we are gonna ride the Six Flags Starflyer, because after we took a closer inspection, I'm pretty sure that was supposed to be for Six Flags Dubai.
I think so, and I think there's 6 flags at the top, to your point.
Yeah, you can see all 6 dots that would hold them, so I definitely think so. Oh, look at this nice sign. Hala Dubai. It appears that somebody is flying a drone, and that drone pretty dang close to this ride. I mean, it's far enough away, but like, that's still close.
It's far enough if everything's going well. It's not far enough if it loses a prop and goes into a circular spin.
That will definitely hit. So Darius has decided to go for a Zen ride on the GO coaster, but this is not a coaster. It's a Zamperla Disco. Now I'm electing not to ride because I really don't like these rides. The restraint system that you see right there severely hurts my back, so I'm electing to not ride, but Darius insisted he needs his Zen ride, so he's gonna get it. Wrong way. That is... See why I don't like to ride it? All right, so I just took a few more rides on my 500th coaster, Hala Madrid. I still don't really know how to feel about it. It's a very strange ride because, like, it feels like it should have a little more oomph than it does. But I can't lie, a night ride on this is great with that lighting. And the layout does have some really good airtime pops. Honestly, it does not matter where you sit at all. I mean, back's better for the drops, but otherwise it's pretty much the same since the train is so short. I do wish the train was longer. Maybe it was just paced a little bit better throughout the layout, but that first half, so good. And then the rest of it, there's not much airtime, but it does pull you out of your seat a little bit. So that's gonna do it for our time here at Real Madrid World, a really, really weird park. I did wind up riding Hala Madrid a couple more times, and I like it more and more as I rode it more, especially during the dark. It's a great night ride. This park is just really small. Honestly, I don't think you can really call it its own standalone park because it doesn't work as one, in my opinion. I think it should really just be like grouped in with another one or needs major expansion. I also think the theme is just really weird. It's just a very strange park, as was the other one, Motiongate. Motiongate definitely was a lot more cohesive. This one is just bizarre, but they do have a good wooden coaster. I will definitely say that. But now we are headed down to Abu Dhabi. We're staying at the W Abu, and that will get us ready for the Yas Island Park starting tomorrow. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for the Yas Island Park vlogs coming very soon to Hollywood Studios. Goodbye, guys.